Over the past month, the Miami Dolphins have been making some tough calls, especially when it comes to players who haven't been performing up to par. It's been a rough patch, but is it too little too late? Could this have been handled earlier in the season? Let's dive into how these decisions are shaping the Dolphins' future, starting with a big move, the release of inside linebacker David Long. David Long, a captain and a key piece in the Dolphins' defense last year, has been a major disappointment this season. He earned praise in 2023 for his run-stopping ability, but when it came to pass coverage, he was a liability. This year, it's been a complete disaster. His run defense, which was once considered one of his strengths, has gotten progressively worse, and his pass coverage has been even more problematic. Against the Arizona Cardinals, he had several opportunities to make tackles in crucial situations, and he just couldn't get the job done. Remember that huge third down run by Kyler Murray? Long was right there, ready to stop him, but whiffed. That missed tackle allowed Murray to pick up a first down and drain the clock, which ultimately set up a game-winning field goal as time expired. This wasn't just one bad play, it was a recurring issue all season long, and it all came to a head in that brutal loss to Arizona. But here's the thing, why did it take so long to bench him? The Dolphins saw enough to pull him from the game against the Buffalo Bills a few weeks back, but it didn't happen earlier. They made the switch to Anthony Walker, and suddenly, the defense seemed to play better. McDaniel and defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver really should have made this move sooner. They've had problems with finding a solid pass coverage linebacker for years, but Long's performance had dipped so far that it was hard to miss. Was this negligence on the part of the coaching staff? Maybe. Sometimes you have to make the tough calls earlier in the season, not wait until it's almost too late. Speaking of tough calls, the Dolphins have had their issues at the tight end position as well. Durham Smythe has been benched for dropping passes and missing blocking assignments, but his backup, Julian Hill, has his own set of problems. Hill is a decent blocker, but he's been plagued by penalties and has fumbled the ball when he does manage to catch it. It's hard to trust him when he's making these basic mistakes. The Dolphins brought in Jonnu Smith to add some much-needed depth, but honestly, the rest of the tight end group has been inconsistent. And then there's Tanner Conner, who's been with the team for 3 years, but can't seem to get on the field. Why is he even on the roster? He hasn't developed into a reliable player, and now he's injured. With Conner on IR for the rest of the season, you've got to wonder if it's time to part ways with him altogether. Why hold on to a guy who can't contribute? This lack of development at tight end is a problem that should have been addressed last offseason. Chris Grier should have kept looking for a solid tight end, but instead, they took a gamble on the players they had. Maybe Smythe is playing his last season with the Dolphins. His game has regressed, and Hill might be salvageable, but honestly, it's hard to imagine him turning it around. The tight end position is just one area where the Dolphins have been caught off guard this season. And then there's Raheem Mostert. The running back who has been so dependable for Miami last season has seen his share of struggles this year. He fumbled twice in recent games, and those turnovers turned into key moments for the opposing teams. McDaniel's loyalty to Mostert is understandable given his great performance last year, but at a certain point, you have to make decisions that are best for the team. This could be the moment to give Devin Achane and Jalen Wright more carries. They've been more consistent, and it's clear the team needs fresh legs in the backfield. McDaniel's player-first attitude is admirable, but there has to be a line when it comes to performance. Tough love isn't about being harsh, it's about making the hard decisions that will ultimately benefit the team. Now, what about the Dolphins' overall mentality? There's been a long-standing perception of Miami as a soft team. You've heard it, right? Experts around the league have said it time and time again. Even under McDaniel, the team has been criticized for relying too heavily on big plays instead of grinding it out. When the weather turns cold and the games get tougher, the Dolphins seem to struggle. Last year, they were supposed to collapse under pressure, and that's exactly what happened. It was a narrative that played out on the field. This year, there are signs of growth, but it's hard to shake that label of softness. And then, this past week, former Dolphins safety Deshaun Elliott, now with the Pittsburgh Steelers, weighed in on the whole soft issue. He didn't mince words. He said the Steelers are tougher than the Dolphins were last year, calling the Dolphins a soft team. That hit hard. It wasn't just a passing comment, it's a reputation that the Dolphins have been trying to shake for years, but they're still carrying it around. Even Jordan Poyer, a guy who joined the Dolphins this offseason from the Buffalo Bills, said the Bills always knew the Dolphins would fold under pressure. Those aren't the kind of words you want to hear from former teammates, especially when they're spot on. It's not just the mental toughness that's been questioned, it's also the physical toughness. When it comes down to those critical short yardage situations, like a 3rd and 1, the Dolphins haven't been able to convert. They don't have that one guy who can push through for those tough yards. Sure, they've tried using Alec Ingold, the fullback, in those situations, but it hasn't been consistent. Teams are starting to figure it out, and if Miami doesn't address this in the offseason, they're going to continue to struggle. They need to find a physical runner who can get the job done in those high-pressure moments. On top of that, the Dolphins' offensive line, which has been mocked for years, still isn't quite where it needs to be. While they've improved, they're better at run blocking than pass blocking, and in today's NFL, you need to be able to do both. The Dolphins need tougher players up front, guys who can handle the physicality of both the run and the pass game. The defensive line has also taken a hit this season due to key free agent losses, and it's clear that the trenches need a complete overhaul. Next offseason, the Dolphins are going to need to rebuild their lines, both offensive and defensive. 10 players from both lines will be free agents, and there's no way the Dolphins can keep them all. If Miami is serious about making a deep playoff run, they need to get tougher, especially up front. The physicality of the game is only going to increase as the season progresses, and the Dolphins can't afford to get outmuscled again. Whether it's adding more beef to the trenches or finding the right playmakers to execute when it counts, these are the areas that Miami must address. If they can't, the soft label will continue to haunt them for years to come.